hosts meet to discuss everything from home, family, finances, garden, and garage. We have it covered. And we have some exciting guests today, so make sure you get a pencil and a paper because we're going to be talking about taxes and how you can save money on your taxes, maybe some tax tips that you didn't know about. So in the studios with me today is my co-host, Carolyn Wolfe with Certified Mortgage Planners. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Jean. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, and before we bring in our guest from GI Tax, I want to talk a little bit about taxes as far as the mortgages and so forth, because before we go any farther, you have to give out your number.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Okay, my license number is 268538, and I'm with Certified Mortgage Planners.
And Carolyn's number is 321-795-9103, and she's right here in the Indian-Atlantic area. Mm-hmm. I started to think Indian Harbor Beach. No, it's Indian Atlantic. Right here locally on the Space Coast. So we're going to talk about taxes and so forth, but I want to talk a little bit about mortgages because now we're into February. It's season, people, and the northern buyers are here. They're wanting to see homes. They're not staying on the market very long. And some of the things that they may not have thought of because they get here and all of a sudden they want a home and they need a mortgage and you need special paperwork from them.
Right.
So what are some of the things that if someone's listening from the north or someone is here that can get their hands on some of this paperwork from their home base, what are some of the things that you're going to be required to have before you can pre-qualify them?
Okay. Thank you, Jean. That's actually a great point. Even when, especially the people that are in the process of moving and packing, we always do remind them to make sure to keep out their important documents. And I'm very glad to have Glenn here from GI Tax because one of the most important things we need is tax returns for 2 years typically. And 9 times out of 10, we have those stored away because, of course, it's, almost 2 years away, mm-hmm. or has been. We need pay stubs, bank statements, photo ID. But the main thing is making sure that you have those things readily available and not packed away in a secure, all the way in the far box where you can't get to it.
Okay, in a pinch, we can't get those taxes for some reason. Can we go down to the IRS office? Can we call IRS and have them send them to us? I know it's probably going to be a lengthy time, but can we do that as well?
Consumers can request a copy of their transcripts from the IRS.
Mm-hmm. How long do you think that takes in general? Have you gotten any idea? If not, we'll ask Glenn. Maybe he knows.
I'm sure he would know.
A couple more things. Some of the things we always say before you go out looking at homes, before you meet with your real estate agent, give Carolyn a call. Find out for sure exactly what you qualify for because you may think you can only qualify for X amount, mm-hmm. but you have different points and so forth. And one of the things we always say is you want to season your money. I love that mm-hmm. because there's certain things that take time to, for an example, 2 years of tax returns. And you also need certain things that are on a timely basis. So when you're applying for a loan, don't you have to go back, 2 months for pay stubs and so forth?
It's actually 1 full month for pay stubs, but 2 months for the assets, so bank statements.
Bank statements
get 2 full months.
Right. So that's one of the things that you may not know about it. Also, if you're going to be putting a fairly good amount down, and a lot of times people sell something. Maybe they sold a boat 6 months ago, and they thought, I'm just not going to put it in the bank. I'll just hold on to it. That's not always a good idea when you're using it for your down payment because you're going to want to see where those assets are.
Correct. We do need to have a fund season, so cash can be a little tricky.
Mm-hmm. So sure. Those are the kinds. What do they normally like to see? At least 2 months in an account or a trackable
Right,
record?
2 months in a bank statement or in a bank account. So I always tell people, too, because you have to take into consideration that your bank statement might have just come out, and now you have to wait another full 30 days for another bank statement. Mm-hmm. So typically it's going to be a little bit longer than 60 days worth of bank statements.
And those are those things that slow you down. So imagine you've gone out, you've looked for your dream house, you know you've got $20,000 sitting at home. So you're thinking, bing, bang, boom, I'll just go and get that mortgage. And so all of a sudden, everything breaks. We're putting on the brakes because we can't get you qualified because you're sitting there with cash, which seems ridiculous that we can't use cash anymore, but that's how they are tracking the good guys and the bad guys, right? They want to see where people are getting that money.
Right.
I
part
can
of the
remember
Patriot Act.
Back in the day, many years ago, I guess they were trying to track the drug business or something. But anyway, if we took cash in our office, a real estate office, we had to make copies of it. So we had all the serial numbers and put that in the file. But anyway, those are the things we have to live with at this point. So without further ado, get those pencils and paper handy because we're just about ready to introduce our wonderful guest, Glenn Sandler with GI Tax. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're really happy to have you here, and I know it's tax season, and you're busy, busy, busy. But tell us a little bit about GI Tax, how you founded it, didn't you? You're the president of GI Tax.
Yes, I am. It was founded in 2012. We exist because we want to start selling tax franchises to guys and girls that have served in the military. So when they get back, they can own their own businesses.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep. We have been growing. The first year we did about 300 returns. Second year about 600. Then we did 800. And last year we did 1,500 returns.
That's crazy.
We're starting to get franchised around the whole country. If you come and visit us, we bleed red, white, and blue. We have American flags. We have if you walk in, you can't help than getting hit in the face with America when you walk in.
You know what I liked about your office, besides the professional things that you have there, you got a what do you call it, a game? What is that?
We have a video game system that has 100 games in it. So when parents come in with their children, they can sit there and they can play. We have sunglasses for kids. We have candy. We have bottled water. It's probably the only tax office in the world where kids don't want to leave. You know, they do the whole wet potato thing when they lay down on the floor because they don't want to leave. They beg their parents to come back. So we create an environment that's really family friendly.
And you have how many locations so far here in Brevard County?
Just one right now. We're working on opening another one in Palm Bay. We're starting to get franchised in 33 states, and probably starting April or May, we're going to start selling franchises around the country.
And you're right, almost across the street from Eastern Florida State College. I still want to call it BCC. How long have they changed their name? 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and I'm still saying BCC. You're right there on Wickham Road near Post.
In between Post and Parkway, almost just catty corner from the school.
Right.
There's a Starbucks in our parking lot.
There's a pizza place,
there's
too.
A Marco's Pizza is right next to us also. We have a Subway in there. You come in, you'll love to get your taxes done. You can eat it at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. How better can that be? So tell us a little bit more about that franchise, because I think that's so important. We have our military, and we thank them for their service. They get here, and maybe they want to start a business, but for whatever reason, they don't know what to do, and this is obviously a lucrative business to start, and they could give you a call and find out a little bit more. Is there an online website that explains it a little bit more in detail?
We have a website. It's gitax.com. It would be a great franchise for anybody. You do not have to be a veteran to own one, as long as you understand that when you're a GI Tax franchise owner, you are going to support the military. We give $10 from every tax return to a military charity. Last year was almost $15,000.
Wow.
Our goal, and it sounds kind of crazy, but our goal is to have about 1,000 locations around the country. If we do that, we can give in a neighborhood of $10 or $20 million to military charities.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you say 1,000 franchises, oh man, that's a lot. Well, there's more H&R Block franchises than there is Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So yes, there is a lot of tax franchises, and we just want to get our market share. There's 495 military bases. There's no reason why we can't have 2 around every military base, and that's how we get our 1,000 franchise projections.
Well, that is wonderful, and I put some questions together and so forth, and I know that we need to go over what people are gathering up all their receipts and getting ready. Some will come in on April, 15th is the deadline.
I think it's April 18th. It might be 16th this year. It's whatever that Tuesday is, because Monday is actually a holiday.
Okay, that's
so
right.
if April 15th falls on a weekend or on a Monday, it's due that Tuesday, and I believe it's April 16th this year.
Well, they're all trying to gather, and most people come in like 24 hours ahead of time and want to get their taxes done. And again, just like Carolyn, what is it, April
18th.
We looked at the calendar. Just like Carolyn said with mortgages, same thing applies when you're getting your taxes done. There's things that you need to be doing now, so you're not sitting there across from one of your wonderful agents that are helping out, or consultants, I guess is the correct word, and all of a sudden you're dumping, a shoebox full of receipts on them. What would be some of the tips you could tell people right now at home to get prepared before they go in to have their taxes done?
The best advice I can give my clients is I want everything. The tax law is very simple. It says, first of all, the first line of tax law says everything's taxable. Then there's 79,000 pages of exceptions. The only way I know what...
Wait a minute, 79,000 pages of exceptions?
Yes, that's what the tax law is. It's 79,000 pages.
And they wonder why we can't do taxes by ourselves.
And why it takes professionals.
We need Glenn.
Yes. So what I tell every one of my clients is I want everything, because the tax law says if something has a business purpose, it's deductible. Well, business purpose is different from one person to another. So I need to be the one to make that determination if it's a business-related expense or not. A lot of people, when they file their own taxes, they think they're very conservative. They don't think that they should take these deductions because they're worried about what the IRS is going to say. The Internal Revenue Service wants you to take these deductions. They even say, when I was taking my master's course, I was taking IRS fraud classes. They say that if you have a 20% chance of winning an argument, take the deduction. That means if you have an 80% chance of losing, they still want you to take it. Unless you flat out lying, they want you to try to take it, because if you're entitled to it, you should take the deduction. Mm-hmm. And in people's tax brackets right now and how tough the economy is, $300 in somebody's pocket is a lot better in their pocket than it is in somebody else's pocket. So we will do everything we can to make sure we get every single dollar for our clients.
You've been listening to Glenn Sandler, just like Adam
Just
Sandler.
like Adam.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that any relation?
Unfortunately not.
Glenn Sandler with GI Tax right here in the Melbourne area, across from the Eastern Florida State College on Wickham Road between Parkway and Post. A couple of things that we thought would be pretty interesting to talk about, especially since we have Carolyn Wolfe here with Certified Mortgage Planners. People that own their own home, what can they legitimately take as far as a tax break on owning that home if they're paying a mortgage?
They can take their interest deduction. They can take their property tax deduction. They might be entitled to a residential energy credit. And if they qualify, there are limitations, but they will be able to deduct a portion or all of their PMI insurance, their payment mortgage insurance. Okay.
So how about homeowners association? Is that deductible or no?
Unfortunately not, and they're pretty expensive. Again, the tax law says that if something's tax or interest related, you can deduct it, but if it's personal, you're not allowed to. We just talked about homeowners. Well, the year when they close on their house, there are certain other deductions they can take also. On their HUD statement, there's a lot of fees that might be deductible, such as loan origination fees, such as transfer taxes, such as interest that might be paid and listed on a closing statement, but then out on the 1098 when they get it from the bank. So you want to go through your closing statement and make sure you capture every single expense that you paid at closing that will be deductible in that year. There are a lot of things that are deductible that people don't realize that they are.
Well, those are the kind of things that we're always trying to share with, especially with my clients, as Gene Newell, working with real estate in the area for many years. And I always tell people, listen, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not a mortgage planner, I'm not a doctor, and I never played one on TV. So, but
I'm a great realtor, right?
I do know enough to know that certain things are relevant enough to go to the expert to find out for sure, because I certainly don't want to tell someone that, if you're paying $1,000 a month, technically, if you're in a 28% tax bracket, you're only paying, I don't want to get into that, but there are some very strong reasons why your interest versus a rental payment is completely different. You really get a bigger break off of the same amount that you're paying for a mortgage payment than if you were getting a rental.
Rent expense is not a deductible expense, but interest is. Mm-hmm. And we have free consultations. If for some reason you want to ask a question, you can call us. You can stop by. We don't charge for it. We'll go over your HUD statement with you. We'll give any kind of advice you want to. We help